In this video, we'll be taking a look at all today's NBA matchups, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full Winning Sport Picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. We start in Toronto Raptors versus Washington Wizards, and this is a classic spot where the market is daring you to lay points with a team the public still doesn't trust on the road. Toronto is laying 7 while Washington is catching 8 depending on the book, and that tells you everything about how much respect the Wizards still don't get. This is a pace control game, not a blowout profile, and Washington has quietly been much better at staying inside inflated numbers when they are priced as heavy home dogs. The total sitting around 226.5 points feels a touch high for how these teams actually want to play when the game slows late. At the window, we're taking Washington +8 and the under 226.5. Next up is Miami Heat versus Atlanta Hawks, and this one is all about market balance. Miami is catching 4.5 while Atlanta is laying 4, which tells you the books are shading toward Hawks money without fully committing. Miami thrives in these grinded out road spots where every possession matters, and Atlanta tends to struggle covering numbers when they're asked to dictate pace. The total sitting around 245.5 is aggressive, and this sets up as a game that tightens late with long half-court possessions. The play here is Miami +4.5, and we're coming back under 245.5. Now we move to Charlotte Hornets versus Orlando Magic, and this is a matchup where the number is doing the talking. Charlotte is getting 6 while Orlando is laying 6, and that's a key number in this spot. Orlando is getting market respect, but Charlotte has been far more competitive than the public perception suggests, especially when catching this many points. This is a game where Orlando can win without separating, and the total around 230 feels fair, but slightly inflated for the pace these teams prefer. We're grabbing Charlotte +6 and leaning under 230. Next is Boston Celtics versus Indiana Pacers, and this is a fascinating market setup. Boston is laying 8 while Indiana is getting 8.5 depending on the shop, which shows resistance to pushing this number higher. Indiana plays much better in spots where they're catching points against elite teams, and Boston doesn't always press the gas when they're in control. The total around 220 is reasonable, but this feels like a game where Boston's defense dictates terms late. We're taking Indiana +8.5 and under 220. Now to Philadelphia 76ers versus Chicago Bulls, and this is one of those games where the spread tells you the books don't fully trust the favorite. Philadelphia is laying 1.5 while Chicago is catching 1.5, and that's essentially a pick'em with juice. Chicago has consistently shown value in these short number spots, especially when the market expects Philadelphia to handle business easily. The total sitting near 239 is high for how these teams tend to play when the game is tight late. We're on Chicago +1.5 and under 239. Next up is Memphis Grizzlies versus Milwaukee Bucks, and this line is sneaky. Milwaukee is getting 5.5 while Memphis is laying 5, and that's a rare roll for the Bucks. This is a spot where Milwaukee's experience matters, especially against a Memphis team that can struggle closing games as a favorite. The total around 225.5 feels a little low given how fast this game can get if it opens up. The pick is Milwaukee +5.5 and over 225.5. Now we head to Phoenix Suns versus New Orleans Pelicans, and this is a pure market tug of war. Phoenix is laying 3.5 while New Orleans is catching 4, and the books are clearly split. New Orleans has been excellent at defending home court in these coin flip type matchups, and Phoenix hasn't been consistent covering short road numbers. The total around 239 sets up nicely for a slower second half if the game stays close. We're taking New Orleans +4 and under 239. Finally, Detroit Pistons versus Utah Jazz, and this is a spot where the public will almost automatically back the favorite. Detroit is getting 9 while Utah is laying 9, and that's a big number for a team that hasn't been dominant enough to justify it consistently. Detroit has quietly covered these inflated spreads more often than people realize, especially when expectations are rock bottom. The total around 244.5 feels high for a game that could stall late. If Utah builds a lead and coasts, the play is Detroit +9 and under 244.5. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. That's the full card, and to recap everything we're playing tonight, Washington +8 and under 226.5, Miami +4.5 and under 245.5, Charlotte +6 and under 230, Indiana +8.5 and under 220, Chicago +1.5 and under 239, Milwaukee +5.5 and over 225.5, New Orleans +4 and under 239, and Detroit +9 and under 244.5. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!